Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Town Council special budget meeting and work session for Monday, March 2nd, 2026. We're now called to order. The first item after being called to order is the approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve? So moved by Councilmember McBride. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Brown. Any comments or questions regarding the agenda? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. The agenda is approved as posted. So moving into new business, the first item is the FY 2025 audit, update and review. And for that, I'll turn it over to Treasurer Tonelli.
Hi, Mayor and Council, staff here with us and folks at home watching. The FY25 audit's all but complete. We have a draft here, and I asked Webb from the auditing firm to jump in and just walk through with us like she does every year. And there is a copy in your binder that I think it's on tab. Next tab, yeah, tab A. If you want to walk through, and I will turn it over to her.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Absolutely. Let me
Let's see, share. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Are you not sharing? Let me give you more.
No, it's available. I just like to double check.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. So I pulled up the audited financial statements. We did the audit for Bladensburg for the year ended June 30, 2025. I'm just going to go very high level, but if you have any questions, feel free to stop me along the way. So the very first page here after the table of contents is the independent auditor's report. And so essentially this is what you're looking for in an audit. Are your financial statements materially misstated, or are they accurate, right? And so what we do as auditors is express an opinion on your financial statements. So here in the second paragraph, you'll see, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. So what that means is the town has a clean, unmodified audit opinion, which is the best opinion that you can get. I do always like to pause here on this paragraph at the bottom. There's some confusion sometimes. Management is responsible for these financial statements. All we do as auditors is express an opinion on those financial statements. So these are your financial statements. You'll see here at the bottom, there is a gas report, government auditing standards, because you are receiving those federal funds. There's a second report that we'll talk about in a few minutes. Governance, which is you guys, the mayor and the council, are expected to review and approve the audit annually. And so the date is left blank until that governance approval. And so that's why it's highlighted throughout here. You'll see as soon as the final draft gets approved, that's when everything will be dated and then subsequently submitted to the state of Maryland as required by state law. I am going to skip over the management's discussion and analysis. This piece is just a really high-level summary of the audit itself. So we're going to start on Exhibit A1, if you have the paper copy in front of you. So Exhibit A1 is the statement of net position. It's very similar to a balance sheet if you're in a for-profit world. What it does is at the top here, it takes all of the assets of the town and it shows you the different categories. So at June 30, 2025, the town of Bladensburg had total assets of just shy of 8.3 million. And if you look up above, like I said, these are the different categories. A lot of it represents cash and cash equivalents and investments. You also have some receivables, some prepaids, and then a big chunk, almost 3 million, are the capital assets that the town owns. The second half down here are the liabilities. So all organizations have liabilities at any point in time. for the town, those include things like accounts payable, accrued salaries, accrued compensated absences, right? Vacation, sick leave. And then you also have some long-term liabilities, about 100,000 due within the next 12 months, and then 4.4 million due in the future. And you also have some accrued compensated absences that are long-term as well. These deferred inflows represents the unspent ARPA and some pension. That's about 960,000. If you take your assets and subtract your liabilities, the difference for your organization is known as net position. So the town has $3.4 million of net position. And then these are the different categories of net position. So you can't spend what's invested in capital assets. So that's a separate number, that's 2.9 million. And then you have restricted net position of 423,000. That's highway user revenue. And then your unrestricted portion at the end of June 2025, about 19,000. The next statement is the statement of program activities. This is similar if you're a for-profit to an income statement. What's different about it and what I've learned to love over 25 years is it's backwards. It starts with the expenses. So this first column are the expenses by category for the town. So general government was a little over 2.9 million last year. Public safety, 7.1 million. Public works, 1.9 million. And then we had a little bit of interest. So total expenses, $12 million. And then what I like about it is it shows you the different types of revenues. So you had charges for services, 962,000. And when I was looking at this a few minutes ago, I was like, man, that's high. But then I remembered this is your automated traffic enforcement included in public safety. That's 782,000. You also, as a local government, are eligible for various grants. And so you had both operating grants and capital grants last year. So about 998,000 of operating grants and about 681,000 of capital grants. So you take your expenses and you reduce it by those revenue streams, and it shows you had 9.4 million. And so what you did and what local governments are allowed to do, or you have taxes, right, to support the rest of the expenditures. So your state shared taxes, about 700,000. Your property taxes, 5.5 million. You have some interest income coming in. As we all know, there's favorable rates, about 285,000 of interest income, and then about 200,000 of other income. So your total general revenues, which is just these here, 6.7 million. So you did have expenditures in excess of your revenues last year, so you are showing a loss for 2025 of 2.6 million. That's why when you have your beginning of the year net position, you end up with 3.4 million at June 30. So because accounting is not complicated enough for local governments, there's a second set of financial statements. These are called the fund financial statements, and this is similar to how you budget. And so in a minute, we'll talk about the budget versus actual for fiscal year 25. Essentially, all of these amounts are very similar to the amounts we just went over, except they exclude anything that's long-term. So fund balances generally mean things that are available within the next 12 months. So you'll see these numbers are generally the same, they just exclude those. Same thing on the fund level statement of revenues and expenditures. These numbers are very similar, excepting like capital assets or lease expenses. So Exhibit A5, again, it's just a reconciliation between the two sets of financial statements. Exhibit A6, I mean, if you guys are tired later, go ahead and read the notes to the financial statements. They're not at all exciting, but there are a couple things that I do want to point out this year. Let me get to the first one. It looked like page 10. Page 10 of 21, if everybody wants to flip to that page. I'm sorry, before we get to page 10, Page 5, compensated absences. There was a new standard applicable in the current year, and Vito and our team worked to implement it. It had to do with compensated absences and ensuring that all amounts that were going to be paid out in the future were accurately captured. So this set of paragraphs here under compensated absences, the disclosures were expanded to include what your current policy allows employees to get in the future. All right, let's go to page 10, note 3C. Anytime you have future amounts that are due, I'd just like people to be aware of what those might be. So 3C is your leased assets. So there are several different types of assets that are currently being leased, and these are some of the balances remaining on those leases, about $483,000.
Yep.
On the next page, you also have that subscription based IT, and that has to do with the body cameras. This again is future payments due on those, about $50,000. On page 19 of the notes, sorry about the scrolling. Note 5, and I think it starts on page 17. Note 5 goes on for a couple pages, but it's very important for you all to be aware of. That's the, you're in the state retirement plan. And so there's a lot of really good information about the state retirement plan in this particular note. There are some actuarial calculations. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But currently your net pension liability for the state retirement plan is almost $4.3 million. Your contribution last year to the plan was $485,000. All right. The only other one I thought was important, and hopefully I would have one more year of me talking to all the mayors and councils about the ARPA funds. You guys had eligible expenditures in fiscal year 25 of about $235,000 and had just about $500,000 remaining to be spent in fiscal year 26, which is great. I think everybody is excited about finally using up all of the ARPA funds. Last couple pages are the budget versus actual, and I believe you guys are working on the next year budget now. So it kind of is it's very important to look back and see any significant variances you might have had in the budget versus actual. So on the revenue side, there were just a couple categories: the bond bill, which didn't come in, the federal earmark, which wasn't received. Those were budgeted for, but didn't turn into revenue in fiscal year 25. The only other large one where it was budgeted but wasn't received was the automated traffic enforcement here. And, it's a normal decline as people adjust to where the cameras are. So your budget had $12.4 million of revenue, and what came in was actually closer to $9 million of revenue. On the expense side, slightly different, right? So you can go through category by category, but the total ended up, you had budgeted almost $13 million of expenditures, and expenditures last year were $11.4 million. And so you can kind of look above as you're going through your analysis and see which accounts were different. All right, we're almost done. Exhibit B3 is the state proportionate share of the net pension liability. This is really important just to know you're part of the pension plan. You have to contribute annually. Your share of the total state retirement plan, the town of Bladensburg share is $4.2 million. That's less than 1%, like it's 0.162% of the total plan. And then over here, this is excellent. You always want to see that the amount that you're contractually required to pay is being paid, right? You never want to get in a situation where you're not making those annual contributions. And it's about 10% of the payroll is what you put in for retirement. The last piece is the separate guess, which is the government auditing standards, because you do get that ARPA funding. There's a different level of audit that is being completed, and there were no issues with compliance in the current year. So that was also a very favorable result. Any questions on the audit?
Hey, Eva, can you go back up to note 5?
Okay.
The pension liability increased, I think, 1.4 million this year.
Yeah.
And talk about, I mean, that was a huge jump. Last year, it went from, I think the year before it increased 200,000. Last year, 400,000. This year, it's 1.4 million.
So it's all based off of the market value as well. So anytime there's a really favorable market, you're going to get some of that fluctuation. What page was that? Let me see. Page 19. Let me go back to it. So their current discount rate is also 6.8%. This number here, Vita?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? You said you had it in front of you last year. What was it last year?
Isn't it 2. It was 2.5, right? I mean, 2.6, isn't that what 6 to it? So next.
Yeah, go down to
The 10s,
hold on, Eva.
2025 is 2.1.3 right here. Is that it?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, includes changes in the pension assumptions. And I'm pointing like you all can see me. Sorry, let me move my
Yeah,
cursor.
it's right there. Yeah,
Yeah, the changes in
2.1.
for
Yeah,
2020.
it's right there. There, yeah.
So this shows up, you have that large deferred inflow on your balance sheet. So not all of it is a liability. Like when you have pension adjustments, some of it comes through, and I went too far. Some of it comes through as an asset, and some of it comes through as a liability. So some
Liability,
portion of that is sitting up here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the deferred outflows. Is that what that's that
Right.
2.1? Yeah.
2.1 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not technically like a
It's
deferred
not technically
outflow.
liable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Because
not currently a
it's kind of
liability.
like that unrealized gain or loss. It
Exactly.
will adjust annually.
Right.
Just okay.
Because that's also the inflow issue too. It's
Mhm.
like, because that's the interest from it, but then it's like until you actually have to, like, everybody retires at the same time, well, then
You're
owe
in
that
trouble.
money.
Yeah.
Right. If
Right.
everybody doesn't, then you're
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry. It's on note 3, letter F on page 14.
You got it. No 3. Mhm.
That what I was on my draft.
Yeah.
Oh, the leases. Oh, the leases. Is that what
The
you're talking
pension liability underneath the leases.
about? Mm.
It's on the
Oh,
lease.
I know what you're talking about. Let me find it here. I think was it page 10? I'm sorry about the scrolling. I know nothing makes people crazier. Here we go.
Getting warmer. It's note 3F.
E is capital assets. F is leases in this one. Maybe it changed.
Pension liability.
Here it
That's
is. Yeah,
there
it's
it
right
goes.
here in the middle. Yep.
It's right in the
So
middle.
here you go. The pension liability at this is what you were talking about, 2.89, and then it increased 1.3 to 4.2. Yeah. So, there's actuarial analysis that goes, I won't pretend to know how the state comes up with all of their information, but a lot of it is actuarial based. It's also based off the market. So with the market being favorable, that changes some of the assumptions that they use. But yes, it's a big jump. But again, the key is back here on these schedules, are you making look at your trend, right?
Yeah, you're trying
Of
to
where
way
you
up.
started to where you are now, but
Yeah.
it's also because your salary amount is increasing. So look where your salary was 10 years ago. It was
It was
2.1
half the amount.
million.
Yeah.
So now it's 4.6 million. So
Mhm.
it went from an 8% contribution rate to 10.4.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not in LEOPS.
No, we were
No.
looking at it. No.
So I have others that are in LEOPS, and that number is very high comparatively speaking, which is fine. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So do you want to go into the next part?
We're done.
We're done? We're all
Yeah.
done? Okay.
This
we're
is the
done.
audit. There's a little letter, but it really doesn't have anything exciting in it.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. And I was out marketing today, which I never do, but Debbie sent me an email, Vito, saying the last piece of information was obtained. So we can go ahead and get this finalized if the mayor and council wants to approve everything.
Yeah,
So for next Monday.
it'll be on next Mondays. Yep.
Beautiful. Perfect.
Yep. I just wanted to give you some more time because
Yeah.
it's taking a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So that we didn't feel rushed next Monday on it, so that you had more time. Because I was like, I'm trying to make the agenda less, even though it's gonna be, there's a lot of stuff. I'm just gonna throw everything at you in the last meeting, but just to let you know. Yeah.
But it
Sounds
is-
great. Yep. All right. Well, thank you very much. Let me stop sharing.
Leave one question.
Right.
Of course. Yep.
So one of the questions I just want to make sure we as a council understand is you mentioned the 2.6 million loss for the previous year. And just to clarify, so that was for funding that we anticipated coming in, but it wasn't actualized. So the federal earmark of $1 million, the bond bill funding, and I know we were short on speed camera
It was
revenue
majority is a speed camera.
by about $1 million as
Yeah, I
well.
think mostly it was the speed cameras, but I also looked because when I was prepping, I knew that would be a question. When you went through your fiscal year 25 budget process, you had also budgeted to use fund balance of about $500,000.
Right.
So you have to remember that, which that doesn't
Right.
actually show up in these numbers.
Right.
So you were always anticipating a loss, not at the degree to which your loss came in. But you were anticipating to start the year off with $500,000, all things being equal, $500,000 loss.
And we have fund balance from H2R as well.
Yeah.
Fund balance
Yes.
transfer from H2R.
Yeah. And Eva, just another question, maybe to also kind of add some more context, that you can see on the other page where you said where we actually ended based on the budget.
Yeah.
I think you had those 3 different numbers, and that we ended at 11.4 million versus the 12. Is that I'm
Yeah.
trying to that's that
Yeah.
page, because we sort of slowed down spending in
That was
25.
right here, right?
Yeah, where you see where our actuals are, because we started to slow down spending like mid-year,
Yeah.
because when we didn't see those funds coming in for speed. And then the other part is that I think the other issue that we also have to say is that we fronted money to the state on bond bill. So
Yeah.
we have $400,000 that you will receive as hopefully in this fiscal year, 4,000 that we will get back, that will now also go back to that
this
fund
year.
balance. Yeah, this year. So those are two kind of money changes that you see. But if you can just kind of see that we anticipated spending 12.7, and we actually spent 11.4 because we knew we stopped hiring. We kind of did a freeze on things
Yeah.
mid-year when we were talking about the budget, knowing what kind of budget year we were going into and how we knew last year was getting tight because we didn't get those funds in. That even doing that kind of stopped the bleed.
Good. Yeah, because I was just going to point out, you do have up here on A1, like the very first financial statement where Vito was saying you do have some highway user money, but your unrestricted net position is getting very low, right?
Yeah.
So this one is the one you want to build up. So if there's, HUR projects you can do, that will come out of this in the future. Like as you're looking at the fiscal year 27 budget, know that you do have funds there.
Yeah. And in 26, you use HUR you're going to use it for the street signs. You're going to use that's the reason why more things we're bringing to you are coming out of HUR versus speed. And I think before that, because speed was so strong, or automated, I want to say automated traffic.
Automated. Yeah.
That's the reason why that's the change. So we actually kind of caught that shift in 25 and adjusted for it in 26. And I think in 27, you're going to see that we're making that same recommendation to an extent, that things that we buy out of automated traffic enforcement is a little different.
That's great. That's great to hear. Yeah.
For that overview, Ms. Webb and Mr. Tonelli and Ms. Bailey Hudgepeth, I also want to take the opportunity to thank both of you, because the conversation started November 2024, talking about this potential structural deficit. So we weren't blindsided by it once we got into the fiscal year. And so I think, a lot of gratitude goes to you guys for just making sure that we have the information, and as a team, we could make the right decisions and determine where we could cut back to do the best that we could, make the best possible decisions with the available resources. So I want to thank you all for your hard work, and to be able to say that we have received an opinion from our auditors that we have yet another clean audit is great. So
Good job, Vita.
So, council, any
It's a loss.
comments or-
It's clean a loss.
Okay.
I'm just happy that the town is not even in crisis right now.
I'd like to build that fund balance back up.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost.
Yeah.
So,
And that's huge, because if you want to start to do capital funding,
Right.
that's the difference.
as Michelle said, this is all coming like, it's like, it's a game of swings, it's a big swing last year. I think we're gonna get a big part of it back this year. And so if we get all back, no, but I do want to get a significant portion back and watch how we budget for the next year as well. So, just, what's that? What is it, Eva? What's the
It's on
balance?
page, it tells you right. Let's see. Is it less than 3? It's less.
Wait, what you're looking for?
The fund balance
Is it
Oh,
3?
yeah. Here, let me put it back up.
in that
3.4?
position, the 3.4.
3.4. It was at 6. It was at 7 when I first came, 6 or 7, because it was in the, but that was also, you then spent $1.5 million on rental reimbursement. So when we cleared out the rental assistance, that was $1.5 million. So that,
Without the ARPA.
it was at ARPA. And so
Right. It
Bigger.
was unusually
Yeah.
high with ARPA. But it was 6 million at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So it dropped to 3.4 with the
Yeah.
$2.6 million
Yeah.
loss.
So, regards to the pension.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
With the
Onboard valve.
pension, are the pension liabilities, projected to increase?
Yes. And I think the issue that we were talking about is that the number, when you see that larger $4 million number, that is as if everyone that you have currently on the books were to get pension right now. You're
Right.
paying every year a certain amount into your pension fund, which is about $500,000 a year, 489, which is what it's saying. And I think it's going to go into the mid 5s and to 6.6 next year. 480, you're going to probably pay into the 600s next year, because one, as people's salaries raise, and as how then those all have functions into it. So
People.
Positions.
Improvements,
Right.
all the associated liabilities, the accrued compensated balances that Eva was talking about
Right.
with the expanded note, all
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Everything increases down the line.
Yeah.
So
And that's it. Yeah, it's like, because when you think about the way our pension works, that people can give their sick time into the pension fund. So then that adds a liability. And so that's why, that's what's really great, Leva, that we have the new reporting that shows uncompensated absences, because it's one of those things that's always lurking out there for when employees separate from the town, that they can have large balances, and those can be those are things that the town owes, but we don't see them in our balance sheet because they're not part of our normal budget process.
And that should be in here. I was just looking. So when you look here, because that was really important, and a lot of mayor and councils didn't know that. So I think gosh, I'll have to ask Debbie, because I'm not sure why it's not in here. If you are able to use it in your state retirement, if it counts towards your state retirement, then it's not technically picked up as a liability on the town's books, because it can't be double counted, if that makes sense.
So it's not, that's a case of sick, isn't it? That they can
That's just sick leave. So so part of this policy is, and part of the amount that we worked with Vito on to capture, it does not include anyone who's in the state retirement plan, because their sick leave, if retired, goes to as part of their time, as part of the payout.
Right. Because if you would, as someone who's a long-term employee, what they would separate with them with whatever the cap maximum is at the 12K, and then the remainder would go to state retirement. Is that how you do it?
Correct.
I think it's, I think it's independent of it. When we certify to the state retirement, they want to know what leave balance is on the books.
Wow. So it's a whole-
As of, and then, I'm sorry, and then we recertify leave balance after they leave. So yes, you're right,
Okay.
it is post pay.
Okay, so it's post
I
payout.
had to walk through the process in my head, so it's,
Okay.
you know.
So
It
it's,
is post payout.
so if, let's say someone has 1,000 hours, right? And $12,000 is, I mean, or $24,000 is, let's say, 250. Let's keep it all round. 750 would go to state retirement hours for that as credit for that person in a very round scenario. So that's that's the additional liability that you have. But so the 250 wouldn't be on the uncompensated absences portion, right, Eva? But the 750 would be a liability, correct? In that scenario. I think that's where it would end. So, but anyways, that's just a,
Anyway, it was shocking to see the pension
It
liability
is a
jump
bit
up
big.
1.4 million. That was, you know, and that just adds to, you know, so it's, and I hate to bring it up, but you know, if we were entering into another plan, it would, you know, easily double. Maybe. I don't know, you know, so it's,
or would triple because it would be 3 times. So it would be 3
yeah,
times as
I
much.
just, you know,
Yeah.
I saw that, I mean, and then I checked some other municipalities audits. I'm like, were we getting creamed this hard by it? I went through theirs, like, yeah, they did.
They
Yeah,
did.
They did. And
Which makes sense if it's market driven.
yeah, and we're all taking a piece of the pie pretty much. So it's our 1% or whatever it is. So it's
1.9%.
something like that. Yeah, like a fund of five. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
that was a wake up call.
Yes.
So, you know, oh my God, you did an amazing job.
Yes.
Oh.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Big numbers.
Right.
That's all I think about. Some hobbies.
Get away from the numbers. All right, so again, Ms. Webb, thank you for joining us. This will be on next Monday's agenda for formal approval by the mayor and council, and then that way I can sign the letter and get that back to you, right?
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so next on the agenda.
Sorry about that, y'all.
The next item on the agenda is the FY 2027 budget update. We agreed to meet tonight primarily to talk through the mayor and council budget, which Mr. Tenali always reminds us is the smallest budget of. Spending more time talking about the tiniest budget, but here we are, because it is an important piece, so.
It is
Mr.
very
Tenali,
important.
Turn it over to you.
Okay, I gave you all a little bit too much information. I gave you all a full draft of the budget in your binder, but that was just because once you start doing public safety, we met with public safety, we met with public works, Michelle and I have been talking, and you know,
We're trying to be ambitious.
and before I knew it, you know, it doesn't take that. I keep saying so. I'm going to take a little bit more, and take a little bit more, and take a little bit more, and then it takes a lot more. But you know, so I just go ahead and your first draft is in the book. That's just like the first, well, I like to say, attempt to put ink on the paper. So we may adjust it before Monday's meeting. I just wanted as like a starting point. I want to talk about your budget, how it all flows through. So what's not in your binder, I hand y'all out or 2 handouts. The one with the yellow on top is the mayor and council year to date through the end of February. And back up behind it's your detail. And then the one with a pretty mauled, I call column is your FY27 budget. We can just go down this page, the one page. And I'm not going to talk as fast as Eva and summarize things, but you know, I think millions of dollars in lump sum in one sentence. I can't do that, you know, but it's
Do you want to show that page on?
yes, I do actually. Thank
Yeah.
you for
those at home too.
yes.
Right. Councilmember Blunt, do you want us to email it to you too, or are you okay looking at it on the screen?
can look at it on the screen because I wouldn't know how to put this down and get it out the email, so no,
Okay,
just being honest.
I understand.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna zoom this in, zoom it in, zoom it in, zoom it in. Okay, so your FY26, okay, so compensation. Compensation is made up of 5 components that you'll see throughout the other departments. The reg pay, that is I think it's, my gosh, what is it, like 12,300 or 12,300 and some change, I think. And that goes up by COLA, which, on top of 12,000, it's not a whole lot, sorry, but it's and the FICA is the Social Security and Medicare tax, 7.62% on top, 7.65% on top of that. Health insurance, it doesn't take much to have a change here. And we had large health insurance increase this fiscal year, more than anticipated. Came back at 8 to 9%. I was anticipating like a 4 to 5% increase. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're paying $1 million in premiums, it is a lot. So, and this is just based on your enrollments into the plan. Pension costs, as we've been discussing.
Are you anticipating a similar increase this year?
I walked it back a little bit. It's kind of like I felt like that's like a one-time like market, yeah, because it said, kept telling us it might be coming down, and I think everybody's going to have chest pains from it, so I think they're going to walk it back some. And also they're getting congressional pressure and everything else right now, so it's not a popular thing to increase right now. So along with the energy prices and everything else, that's just my thoughts. So it's pension cost. I under budget for this fiscal year. I didn't think they're going to go up as much, and as Eva said, it's that associated liability with it, and this is our pension expense associated with it. I think I may have talked before. When I first came here, the pension expense was like 9% of payroll, 8 to 9%. It's going to be over 14% next fiscal year. And that is, I'm hoping it stays at that 14% rate and doesn't jump again. It all depends, as she says, on the actuarial losses. So pension expense is going to keep increasing. And as we talked about that, it doesn't affect you all as much, but overall, when you have salary improvements and you have additional folks, that whole pension balloon keeps growing. But it is a great benefit, I believe just about all the municipalities participate in it and most of the counties. So it's a great benefit. And stay competitive, you got to pretty much be in the system. So those are things that are market driven, everything else. The rest of the budget is more of your what you have, direct, say in, I guess you could say, not pick and choose, but it's we'll start with the council business development. That is what I always think is important is that's the only time that you can collaborate with other elected officials. That is your MMLs, the National League of Cities, help me out. What's that? Yeah.
And then we pay PGCMA on that.
PGCMA, that's what I was trying to that's what I was trying to come up with. For this fiscal year, we've only spent about $9,000, but we haven't hit the MML season. I call the MML season as well. And also down here, you have a lot going on. Yes.
The African American.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that is, yeah.
And then did we get billed by and National League of Cities again? They billed a separate amount in the addition.
Not yet, but we have.
They're supposed to be paying. Yeah. I did say
that one.
Yeah.
Their under.
Yeah, that's my understanding is that we could, so that's why I was like, I know that that's in.
But MMLs have two sides. You have the winter conference and the summer conference.
Yeah.
So it's, it's both of those. PGCMA, I think there's a quarterly, I want to say, if that's not a major expense.
Yeah.
But what is the expense? Obviously, is the lodging
It's
that
lodging
you're
and
paying
food.
during peak seasons, and lodging you're paying a peak. It's always peak season at the at
Oceans.
winter conference because you can always pretty much choose one hotel. It's right there. So it's but separate from business, the professional development also had broken down at the bottom is travel as well. And that travel is for the major travel items such as airfare, per diems, airfare to any one of these conferences. It's always during a busy season, it seems like, and the airfare increases. So hotel stays as well. So that's where we are right now. I didn't have a change to it just because you are the smallest budget, and it's just my that take advantage of these if you can. Encourage you all because you can only learn so much sitting around this table versus getting out there and seeing what your counterparts are doing.
Do you think it makes sense to just keep it flat versus going on for this year? Right now, it looks like for travel, for example, we're at 86, 67, 65. And I know summer conference is coming up, so that will change under.
I think we are through 2/3 of the year. I think we're going to have money left over. What's left over? I'll say money
Does MML
left over.
Does MML pay for a portion of your stuff, Mayor, next year?
Say, because coming in as president, they'll cover everything for their events.
Okay,
And then I'll get a budget as well, so that'll
Okay.
cover me for NLP, so I won't.
that's what I was thinking. So then,
For that, and then for any other like regional type conferences, so that'll take me off the town's budget, like burden,
yeah.
if you will.
So that's maybe why you can kind of remain flat.
Because you won't have to have my expenses in there.
For the most, that's what I was thinking. So that might be the way that you stay flat is because I know that MML is going to pay for some of your travel with them, so you won't have those expenses. So that's why I would recommend maybe the flattening, and then but then also remember then Vito, next year it's going to go. You'll need an increase. It's going to bounce back up. So that's the issue with that you'll have to remember is next year when the mayor comes off of it, comes back in. You're going to have to bounce it up.
Comes back, then it won't look like it's such a.
Exactly, big change.
That's true.
So if you raised it to 35, is that what you're saying?
No, not raising it, just leaving it with what Vito has in here.
Okay.
So leaving the travel at 15 and then leaving the business development at 30, 61, 45 is the line number.
Yeah, leaving that the same. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're virtual. Councilmember Blunt, does that work for you? Just leaving it the same?
Yeah, but I would just remember, I know we had talked before that we didn't have to go to all the trainings or something to say, I guess, in the budget. But if we don't say it's a small budget, so it don't matter on whether we all go to the.
Oh.
And I do remember.
Yeah, and I think you're right. We sort of police ourselves and don't go, everyone doesn't go to every single thing. So some people do summer and then not all of us may necessarily do the fall. And then some may do NLC. So, but not everyone goes to National League of Cities. I think last year I was the only one. No, the two of us went. So I think you're right. Just being careful or thoughtful that like this year, if I go to NLC, then I maybe won't go next year, just so I'm not pulling on the budget every single time.
I mean, Vito said we have the smaller budgets, so at the end of the day. I just know we talked about it, that's all.
The small but's important. I don't want to say like it's, you know.
Wow.
You don't even let us spend money.
I'm glad it's Vito. I'm glad Vito's getting all the abuse and not me. I'm enjoying letting it be Vito's fault.
Or keeping it. Yes.
No development, people utilizing that,
What's that?
the staff utilizing that professional development.
Yes.
Cover that budget, when we
Mhm.
get into the.
Individual
different
staffs,
departments.
yeah. Yep.
We just wanted to do our little budget tonight.
Oh, little budget.
Yes, our petty budget.
Your important budget.
To get-
Okay, so, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mary.
So the next one on line item 6160, we have cut back, and it's not that we don't love the staff, but it's just doing the boat.
We're gonna
launch
spend like
thing.
$2,000 this year versus, yeah,
Yeah.
so it's, yeah,
So
yeah.
the question is, what feels like the right level of appreciation? I know this past year we did the holiday luncheon here at Town Hall for staff. And then we, as I said, we didn't do the lunch on the boat in DC. I'm trying to remember, what did we do mid-year? Was it the cookout? There was something here.
Yeah, we did some stuff here. Yeah.
Because I think the police department or public works was on the grill.
We also did somewhere we didn't do the one where we made people cook. I know that we had a couple of staff luncheons where we did not make people cook.
So was that?
We did smaller catered luncheons, but not anything bigger. I mean, I think the thing about it is people enjoy the outing.
Staff cooking
and
is
I-
best.
Yeah.
The staff cooking.
Yep.
Yeah, no making staff cook. That's the one thing that we've moved to. We did the
It's
catering.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
All right.
Mom's cooking.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't make staff. Yeah.
On Mother's Day, so we don't want to
So
do
we
that.
cut that back. I mean, it's,
But I'm just wondering, because again, folks are really working hard to leave enough in there, so maybe it is a series of like every other month or quarterly.
Yeah.
Appreciation lunches where order out the food, have it here.
Oh yeah, I mean we've been doing that. I think that's the one thing we've been doing is then I mean we're also doing some other stuff in the last couple. We did one recently. We did something where we did the taco, because then we do those taco weeks and we did a couple different things. I don't have break here for me to do all the employee rah stuff, but we have some money that we can spend. I think the one thing that employees told us though, they'd rather have cash than gifts.
History.
From history. Ray's better at this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
But no, it is a fair point. So council, are you comfortable just leaving the employee recognitions flat, or do you think we should go down a little bit? Because I'm looking at the detailed breakdown in the second handout that Mr. Tonelli gave us. And it doesn't look like we're exhausting it.
no,
No.
I mean, if you went down to, 10, 8,
They'll be okay.
yes, yeah. As Michelle said, if we can put more money, more funds back into like, what we'll be looking at soon with like, salary improvements, things like that. So,
Yeah. And to her point, the staff feel more value when you put the money in their pockets versus sometimes doing things, which I get, but we still want to
She'll get together.
take the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I mean, of course, staff appreciates it, and, they also know that we're really pinching pennies right now too. So it's,
Okay, so 10K, is everyone comfortable with that?
this is our first time through it. I mean, we can adjust this, again. So this is the first one through.
only 6 months.
Come back for 3 more times with it.
Right. And then, Mr. Tonelli, for the council projects, I know we try to lean into the senior buildings because they serve a population of residents with their convenings and meetings and things like that. Is it?
Yeah, the 500.
It's your 500. It's not the senior building fund.
Yeah.
It's not that
Ahead, but
you jumped ahead. You didn't go ahead because that's your $500 you guys have discretion. This is your council discretionary fund. I think that's what you guys call it, don't you?
Yeah.
You did. Everybody wrote a check. We wrote a check for everybody's.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did you give us the element? Somebody gave one to the elementary school. Somebody gave it.
That's
We can give you the
money that we
list.
Give out to the organizations.
Yeah, an organization. I did not do that. No, we did it on a council item, so I can tell you exactly.
Yeah.
Because we did it as a council item.
First time.
Community center guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, you had a place. Yeah.
So the
Mhm.
question then is, do you
Okay.
want to keep it consistent with 500, up to 500 per council member for a donation to community groups?
So are we going down?
Yeah.
So we just finished employee recognition, 6160.
So we're 60. 6210. Yeah. Yeah, it's called discretionary fund. We did that.
yeah,
I don't know why it's called council. What's it always called?
it was always called that
Council.
because previous council members didn't like it being called discretionary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they wanted it to
Right.
something that's less, but
Less
Yeah.
discretionary, less
Yeah, I think that-
discretion, less secret. Mhm. You're at 6210.
Just finished item 6160 and we're
Right.
now at
6210. Mhm.
go back
Yep.
to the-
Yep.
we're on this page, y'all.
Oh,
Right here.
I was right here.
You're on the wrong budget. You're on the public works budget.
Yeah, that's why I was saying we want to
you're on the page.
get it into the staff budgets tonight.
I was on the correct budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gave out too much info.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, this one I really got. So we.
Not yet, that's coming soon.
At 10. And so we move to the next one, council projects. Again, this is the up to each council member that we can grant $500 to community organizations. So the question is this still good to keep it at 2,500 for the next budget year?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Now it's at $500 a piece. Now,
Mhm.
because, and maybe we can think of this, because it's been $500.
For 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
What's that? And I'm sure people appreciate it, but.
$500 in 2026
Inflation.
compared to $2010. I do get it.
Transfer, yes, but we can't increase it right now. But transfer with the season 6160 by 5,000. Okay. I mean,
So I agree.
I think you should
If
do
we make it 5,000 even, then we could actually give
1,000.
a nonprofit 1,000, which I think would be more
Right.
impactful.
Right.
Um,
Or you could split it up and give 2 people 500. You could do what you want to do. Yeah. Or give 4 people 250 apiece. Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Okay,
All right.
so Mr. Tinelli, yes, scratched out the 2,500.
Put in 5.
Right.
Yep.
Vito's keeping it up here for you and he'll send this to you.
Yeah, we got one of them.
You got a master. And then food assistance,
Food
less.
assistance, that comes in and out, I want to say, because previously we had this covered under ARPA funding.
Yes.
And what wasn't under ARPA funding, we still found a way to do it anyway, because, for the Thanksgiving baskets or the Christmas baskets that we partnered with other agencies. So I don't know if we want to keep that in here or not. I think we kept like $5,000 a holiday, or I think we just did 10,000 all at once.
That's not enough, Vito. You know how much, wasn't how much that cost. Vito, that was Yeah, it was 50, it's $50 a basket.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's what I'm like, I was like,
So just
So am I back in like $1990?
yeah, you are again. That's all right. Sadly.
make sure everybody's on the same page. That was for the holiday giveaway.
So that's 200 baskets at the, with
At
the,
that rate.
at that rate. Yeah. So if you want to do 200 baskets, I think we did 100 to 120, and then we give some money to the organization. So we spent, because right, we might have spent like less than 10, because I think I did it underneath my discretion this year. So my discretion, so to try to, then I moved it from another budget in this one. So it's, I think you
But to
can,
cover the cost, just because how can I put it? It's embarrassing if we say, hey, we want to partner with you, but then we don't.
right, that's what I'm saying. So 10, so that's what I'm saying. That's what,
So it should be 15, because
if you want to do 200.
to get the trucks to store the food overnight, so it's refrigerated. Because of course we can't have spoiled food that we're giving out at the event. So
If you did 15,000, you could probably do 2 events. They make it work. And you could do 100 and like 125 for 2 events. And you could do, or you could just do, you don't have to do it Christmas. I'd suggest not Thanksgiving and Christmas, because it does become stressful on staff. But if you wanted to do one sometime in the spring, I would switch it up a little bit, or do it right now in the, like in the winter after Christmas. Cause I think people kind of hit that crash after they've spent all their money on Christmas. So the Thanksgiving one and maybe doing something in March could be helpful to people that we've never thought about. So
so we don't have to decide what that second opportunity
Yes.
is, but just to put it in
Have money there.
and further about deciding.
Yeah.
Even if we could even come back and say, well, because it is a lot on staff to do too, you're out there with traffic.
Yeah.
You got the high school blocking everything off, and police department supporting. Maybe it is too much of a stretch around the holidays to do too. Maybe we can just do a better offering for Thanksgiving with more dry goods that can last people beyond.
And if you have a federal shutdown, like we had the federal shutdown, we couldn't address it last year because we've always targeted the holidays. They're becoming noticeable in October. So you could you actually could target some funds in October that you didn't have with that other one, and then follow up in Thanksgiving, because last year that was really one of the things, is that people were kind of coming to us because of all the federal shutdown stuff and things like that. And I think that's going to be a pattern and not a anomaly as much, that, or any kind of crisis, that you could actually deal with it with that food assistance money. 15K.
Yes. Does that sound okay? Just so we have some flexibility, because it is true, we have a good number of residents that work for the federal government, and it gives us that flexibility. If there is another shutdown, we can step up as a town and offer some.
So,
The 30, once that we can use that
So
for
that
tax.
for food
for-
assistance,
is that the
line item
tax?
62.
yes,
Okay.
and 20,000 so over. And
Make sure I'm like good. Okay, good. All right.
And then that way, we can adjust it when we get to the town administrator budget, so it doesn't have to push budget there.
Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, it just, I used something. I had some other, I don't travel. I don't travel. So,
Fire department donation, as you can see, we've kept constant $30,000, but we did increase it $20,000 for the apprentice program. And that's over on the speed camera side, over on the PD side. So the mayor and council still at $30,000. And I don't know, what we're going to do with the other 20 that's over there on speed camera. We're
Right.
going to increase that, keep contributing that, or, that's
and the,
discussion's going to have to be made, have to happen soon.
and I'd say the only reason why we're suggesting the fire department donation be at least 50 is that then it can be used towards our tax differential. Yeah, I was like, please retain the 50 tax differential.
Can I say something towards that, please?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, and I know we give it to them for various reasons, but we have to get a little bit. They're not giving the support to the community actually when it comes down to talk about fire safety. No one's is never available to go into these buildings and
Uh-huh.
talk about fire safety or anything, always be turned down. Even though I know it has nothing to do with the budget, but I'm just saying the support that the seniors need, and we have 3 senior buildings. They don't know anything about going with how to get out with a fire. We teach them, but the fire drills they have stopped. And that's
Oh,
what
that's not good. Okay.
I'm just saying. This has nothing to do with the budget. So,
Yeah.
I give them the
Yeah.
money, but I just want more support in these buildings. They don't give you anything.
So I have to say, even recently, when I asked them to attend the Newton Green meeting that I had with the seniors, I got no pushback. They came out, gave information. I forgot to invite them to the one about a week and a half ago, but the fire safety did come up, and I have had tremendous support from them. I think the biggest challenge that we face is when it's trying to schedule the fire drills, trying to get a date together that works between the buildings and them. So I know that's been your experience, but I do have to be honest. I haven't had those challenges when reaching out to them. So I think it's good to flag it and bring it to their attention to say, we want your support in these specific areas and hold them accountable for it so that we ensure that you're getting the same response that I'm getting. It shouldn't be any different.
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I'm not the mayor, to be honest, but my thing.
But
I
it
thought
shouldn't
was
matter.
it should not matter. So I had to go out.
Exactly.
I went outside of Bladensburg and went to the state to get someone to come out and talk. But at the end of the day, they should have done it, but no response ever. None.
Yeah, and the other thing, well, this is a longer conversation
Okay,
because
but I
about
know.
the
We can go back to the
services.
budget,
But
yes.
I want to talk to you offline too, because there were some things the seniors brought up in terms of specific areas of support. And I just want to run them through you before I even bring them to the fire department because of privacy laws to make sure that we're helping and not, jeopardizing the safety. So that's an offline conversation.
Okay.
But I do think we should continue supporting them at the 30K. And then acting chief, I was gonna ask if you would be amenable to giving some of the traffic enforcement dollars to them for the purpose of funding stipends for the ambulance workers to help ensure that we have an operational ambulance and it's not sitting there because the volunteers have to go work their own jobs and they have to pick and choose between helping, support public safety and paying the bills.
Mayor, and
Might be increased.
It did.
it did.
It did.
It did go for that. So that for the new budget, I think that's where we want to make sure that you're in agreement of it. Yeah. And I was going to say maybe the one thing with just kind of taking on what Councilwoman Blunt just said, maybe we, because there's ways that we can do in-kind donations and stuff like that to the fire departments. That's what other people are doing, but that they can do in kind for us for the money, which is, if you can say, Councilwoman, if you guys can say, these are the buildings that we need fire drills in because we haven't had them for years. We could give them that list in the beginning of the fiscal year and put that as part of the services, the conditions that we need. So if you can if you submit that to Vito, we can actually put that together. He can put that together for them. But we can also have it in the notes. I'll make sure that Jessica puts it in the notes that when we have this so that we can put that as part of the donation. Because I think we need to be able to set conditions for, so if you can say, hey, you haven't come to this building and we need at least 2 or 3 times, or we need educational services of these classes, that's what we're asking for. Yep.
So it's a regular.
Yeah, quarterly education. Yeah. So that.
The representative from the fire department with us who can actually speak to that, Officer Reinhardt, firefighter Reinhardt. But does that sound reasonable?
No, it actually sounds, really reasonable to do that because I have to agree. I have seen a fall off in the fire department in services and staffing recently. So a lot of times when, things do happen, there is enough staffing at the department to go out and do the fire drills. And I do think it's great, Councilman, that you did reach out to the state fire marshal's office Teresa Chrisman is a great ally who's actually a Prince George's County resident. That is hands down, I think, the go-to person for especially fire drills or anything fire prevention related here in the state or in Prince George's County.
And she's really good with
Yes.
senior population.
Yes.
She's explaining it in a way where they can understand it, not using big words and talking over people's heads. So yeah, she's a great.
And Miss Ryan, I'm gonna come back.
Oh, sorry.
The fire hydrants. And the two fire hydrants that still need to be addressed, and one of them is at the crane. The other one is, I don't even know if they're working on it, but I'll.
Sure.
So for the fire, I work in fire hydrants, that's responsibility of the fire department.
WSSC. Yeah.
And I can tell you, I have one. I know off the top, but there's one actually in the industrial area that's been down for 3 months, and I've been on WSSC to get a replacement, and it's
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a plan for line item 62,
Yes.
26, and we'll put a scope together for services that
I think so.
share with the fire department.
I think it's
for
reasonable.
their partnership on that. And then
They may ask more for interns, but we'll
yeah, we'll
negotiate.
back to you, Mr. Tinelli.
That's okay. Scholarships and community grants. These were increased or added last 2 to 3 years, and then we've walked back the community grants from 12,000 to 10,000. I don't think we started the process.
We did.
We did? Okay. Okay. We started the process already. Yep. And we advertised. So.
We did.
So
I think the scholarships have worked well. I know the students last year were very grateful for that donation to help them advance their education, but just I'm curious for the council, are you comfortable keeping that in? Do you feel like we need to cut it this year? What are your thoughts?
I think we should keep it in, it's benefiting the residents, if they Bladensburg, and the residents, students, and the Bladensburg.
I agree. We always talk about the seniors, but what are we doing for the youth?
Yeah.
And they're gonna be here when we're not, so we need to try to help them for success.
grants, same thing, the community grants.
Are you okay with 12 or 10? Vito's suggesting, we're suggesting 10, right, Vito?
5 grants last year.
We do them at 2,000 or do we do it? So we did 6 of them. We did 6. So we did 5 to 6 last. Did we do 5 or 6 last year? I think at the end I did a 1. 1 came back and I think we did a 6th one.
Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, let me see. Hold on. Is it in here?
No, that's let me look at last fiscal year. That's not in here.
Oh,
Let me look at last year.
Okay.
With the community grant, do we have a cap on how many times an organization can receive that grant? Or this doesn't matter?
It's in the rules right now. There's a preference for Bladensburg related things, but we don't have a cap on the number of times somebody can receive them.
We did 6 times 2,000.
Yeah.
12,000.
Yeah, we did 12,000 last year. I thought so. Okay.
Mhm.
So Councilwoman, no, there is no, and you guys could tell staff that, and we could put it into the, but I think the interesting part, what happened, the reason why we have the same repeat people is that some of those people were cut off by the county's process last year. And I think our grants were the only thing that kept them going. I know that, the Taekwondo Ramblers got a lot of money from the county's process, which is a project charge stuff that we got funded for. And Fort Dens Youth Town, Gail, she lost, yeah. And so did, I think Eco City Farms lost a large amount. So and this is the only way in our budget that we can support them
well, before
if you want to.
Is that your question or no? Okay.
Okay, yes,
Okay, just wanted to make sure, but I think as I go through the amount of things that we do for the different pockets of community. As I said, we can point to things that we're doing for the seniors and, having something for young people. And this is one of the few things that we can say we designate to the nonprofit. I think if we had more competition from, say, 30 or 40 nonprofits in the community, if we were a town of 100,000 people, I think you would see more competition. But because we're a small town and there's just really a handful of these local groups that are serving us, that's why we see the same people applying year after year. But the benefit of that is because we live here, we get to see the byproducts of how they're using the money, making sure the organizations are doing what they have set out to do and the funds are being spent appropriately. So it gives us that level of visibility. At any moment in time, you can pop in on these organizations and see what they're doing just to make sure that it continues to be a good use of our resources. So I would be comfortable keeping it at 12 versus dropping it down. And again, looking at the county council and how drastically they made that shift with the grant process last year, there were a lot of community groups, particularly in our council managed district, that were negatively impacted by that. Any other thoughts from the council? Okay.
Yeah, and trust me, we do get one-off people that send us stuff all the time for much larger projects, and we just can't fund them. And then we send them back through this process, and they're like, not for $2,000. It's sort of great. Yeah, thank you, not for $2,000.
Well, I thought you were going to change the application process because it was lengthy.
We did,
Yeah.
but they just don't want to do it. They just want more than $2,000. They're like they don't even. It's like it's almost like it's not worth anything for. They just want to. They want to do their project for 50, and they don't even want to deal with a $2,000 grant, which sounds weird, but they don't want unless we just want to write a check to them. I was like, I have to have you fill out your name on something.
All right. They're eligible for the
Scholarships. Yeah.
But as I said before, outside of that, we don't have a ton of things that we can point to say this is for our youth. I mean, we have the Department of Justice grant funding coming in thanks to, I think, Chief Frischkorn, Mr. O'Connor, for the program. That will, for us, and that'll be another thing. But it's an area we do need to build up.
He left the seniors at 4,500. Yeah, so the seniors at 4,500. She doesn't. She did the 4,500 for the seniors.
But that
That's
having a common I don't know if that's an appropriate fund. It's for us.
Yeah.
Oh, the building. That's the building.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So that could be one way to help with it. Okay.
And the other way is the large line item there. Your larger one is the community events. And that, captures all of your events for the year. Now, I put that 60 in before this last round of expenses. I think, we were at 66. FY24, I think we were at 60. Then we went to 66. FY26 went to 70. I walked this down to 60. I'm thinking it has to be at least 65 right now to do it correctly. And Ray knows what events are working and what other ones need to be I want to say retooled or reprogrammed or but they will also be replaced by we have the 250 celebrations coming up, so it's I'd recommend at least 65 in there if you want to keep doing the amount of events. I think Ray did give you all a list.
Yeah, he did. He gave the January meeting, he gave a list that you said that you wanted to do. I mean, we're seeking money from Project Charge again to augment some of it. We're seeing how this year works. We're spending a lot more on 2 events so that we can kind of defray the cost for the future events so that you have some more money this year for, let's say, we're prepaying a lot of expenses for the 250 in fiscal 26 already. So 27 shouldn't be as bad because
that's a difficult thing.
We front load it
with some of the events because the fireworks get front loaded.
Yeah.
But then it balances out because then have actual expenses for it.
Right.
But then you start front loading the next year. So
Yeah.
just because it falls on that 2 or 3 days right after the fiscal year, it's difficult to capture all the expenses in one fiscal year. Do it correctly, I'll do all those prepaids and then walk it back. But that is just like a lot to do for a lot of smaller expenses. If there's like one big subscription expense, like like we do with the Motorola contract for the towers and the radios, that's like a $45,000 expense. That is like something to do as a prepaid because it's not. But anyway, but for the smaller items, I think that 65,000, I think would capture it all.
So too.
Now there's also another 20,000 over on the PD budget as well, public safety budget, for their programmatic use for national and their largest expenses like the National Night Out and trunk or treats and summer jam, back to school jams. But that's discussion on another day when we get to those budgets. But I just wanted you to know how it all interacts. And they're separate budgets, but at the same time we're all doing it together. So
when you look at it all in, if we did 65 plus whatever the police department puts in, that's 85K. Some of that could be offset by project charge funding, which would help us to prevent spending on things, or at least reimburse us
Right.
after we
need to start designing items for project charge. I'd say in moving this year's project, I would say you kind of would choose, especially health, family, wellness, fitness kind of things that you're doing and target them for a project charge grant. I think that we really hadn't thought about it. I know that what other towns have been doing is ongoing programming, like Councilwoman, I think you were kind of talking about it. What do we do for the youth? They have, let's say, the youth football or youth basketball or youth soccer, like you guys wanted to do in regards to that as part of their project charge request. So we could put that together. It's just that we had a very short time because we were given the money. I couldn't put together a league process, but if you've already done the work with the Boys and Girls Club, you could ask for those, and that could then be a portion of your budget where you can kind of deal with youth programming. Oops.
And even if you have the project charge grant, just want you all know it's still an expense. You're just getting revenue
We'll
against
buy food. We got a food budget.
So
You have a food budget.
So let's say if you do additional programming, that's gonna be an additional expense, but you are getting the revenue against it. So I can't take the revenues and wash out the expenses and everything in the account. So it's still an expense. So
still an expense. So you have to show the expense here.
I just want y'all know that, in case we do additional events on top of that, or project versus a project charge covers the existing events,
right?
And then so you'll see a savings then.
Yeah.
So the senior citizen projects, I'm going to jump down. That is what I want to say historically have kept in the budget. That is our funding to the 3 senior buildings of $1,500 each. We fund their programming, and we spent 2/3 of that this year, and we kept back $1,500 right now. So I'm going to keep this the same, or
I think so. 1,500. Oh, sounds good.
okay. All right. So town meetings.
She went away for a second.
Yeah, I lost her.
No, she's there. She'll be back.
Okay. Town meetings, why did this increase? It's been flat. Well, it's been historically, I'm going to switch over to the town administrative budget. We had some of this in the town administrative budget and some of this in the mayor and council budget.
Right.
It wasn't making sense to split these up. Most of these are meeting expenses when we host meetings, when we have meetings here, when we go to, if y'all notice, we host a lot of meetings here, a lot of community meetings as well. And it's always nice to have refreshments, and because you need something to get people in here sometimes, it seems like. So I took the budget out of the town administrator. Still,
I need some for, don't they pay for the, what's their face?
what's that?
Business roundtable out of mine,
The what?
the business roundtable.
Yeah, but that's like, I'm still seeing that as a mayor and council.
You want to keep in that, you want to
Yeah.
move to council, mayor council. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. As long as you don't, as long as
Yeah,
that's that
but
paper out there.
I'm wondering-
fine. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm recommending this go from 6,000 to 10,000
10,000.
because there's an offsetting savings by not having that on the town administrative
Yep.
budget. It's just gets tough trying to, you're splitting hairs as like, it's just town administrator, it's
Yeah.
town council, but it's all town meeting. Yeah, so it's all, most of the times, 90% of that is happening right here.
Yeah.
So.
And does that also cover Rick?
Yes,
I
yes,
just
thank
said-
you. That covers our.
I thought I was like, doesn't charge to cover your Rick charge?
Yeah.
How much is Rick? His
His is about $400 to $500 a council meeting, so that's a big chunk of it right there. Is your
So that's what I was gonna say. Is that
Yes.
enough still because we were sort of, sorry.
I know.
I'm like, I actually think it's probably closer to 12 because I know that because we have ratcheted up on food a bunch, haven't we?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, but that's what I would actually recommend looking at
Okay.
the what you're saying you're doing. What you're saying you're doing, you probably need 12
Okay.
because it's 6 for Rick, 6 for
Yeah.
expenses because you gotta.
And the
'Cause we
food
do-
doesn't cost, I mean, we're finding out it's not all that much, because when we get the catered, the trays.
When we get praise, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Individual meals are more
Yeah,
expensive.
it's a lot cheaper. I feel like we can feed 20 or 30 for a cost of 12 individual
Individual
meals.
meals.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And Ray is great with that, and Jessica, Christina, so, insurance, okay, wait, I skipped a couple things.
Yeah.
Computer expense, I think our IT contractor has updated you all with your computers, I believe. Updated.
Because I'm perfectly happy.
I know,
If you don't, then they can give it to,
it goes down the line.
it'll go down to the new town administrator if they don't want my old ones. I figured that you might not because yours is not as old, but I did the 4 at the same time this year so that you didn't have to do it because Councilwoman Dixon got one last year. We got you a year and a half ago when you first started. Yeah. So yeah, everybody got and
And tomorrow.
it's it's waiting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. I sent you the email. It's like you're part of the change out, Councilwoman. Yeah. It was in the memo.
Yeah.
It's in the
I'll
memo.
be there tomorrow
It's in the
morning.
memo that you all are getting changed out because you had a 2020 computer. But we're one before, yeah. Yeah, but it's a 2020, yeah. Sorry, Councilwoman. Councilwoman,
Oh, no, I was just saying, I'll be there tomorrow morning at 9.
yeah.
Yeah.
To pick it up.
Well, yeah.
I would say $1,000 at least, like 50.
Zero, since we now have the town phones, that we're all under one contract, so
Mhm.
that covered.
Yep,
insurance.
that came in.
Councilwoman, did you ask something, Councilwoman Dixon? That's what I'm sure.
I put $2,000 in for computer expense just in case breakdown.
Does somebody have somebody in emergency?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
there's one emergency replacement.
The budget up, we tried to cut.
Okay, y'all are good, okay.
You want to put 1,000 there or 500?
Put it in police budget.
Nah, nah.
I agree with that.
Now you have to put it in your own stuff. You guys have to be independent.
Capture all the expenses this fiscal year, but
We've captured most of them this year.
hey. Yes. No.
Well,
It comes through. The town phones all come through the police department, and for us, it's minimal, I want to say, in comparison. So we're keeping all the telephone expense on the PD side, which we have because it helps with our state aid funding.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this, but it's based on the actual expenses over on the
Yeah.
public safety side, which is why we have the IT contract on the police on public safety budget.
what if somebody
Public
watches this video?
communications, expense, because it's all routed through communications, which is through the police department. So it's
All right.
Yep.
Small
So
penetrates.
it's all routed through there and the servers and all the, we have a full-time communications team that takes care of that. And to break out hours, I think would be administratively not worth it, because it would be a tiny piece.
So why does the liability go up this high? Yeah.
Insurance liability keeps going up because when we go to our legit annual update, someone will call, I don't want to call it an annual update. It's more of they feed you a nice lunch to tell you how much more the insurance is going to be every year. And it's going up for everything. And this is for your elected officials liability insurance.
And they blame us.
Yeah.
They blame Bladensburg and Beverly.
Yeah. So we're a case study.
Our case study.
So, but also police department is going to go up. Finance is going up for errors and omissions policies. Everything is going up because the risk is higher, and not only that, but the losses between cyber losses on finance side, between vehicle losses on public safety side, and claims made, and also claims made against elected officials. So all that is driving it up. We had a big increase last year, and I've never seen insurance, no matter what they say on the commercials, go down. So especially we're part of the local government insurance pool. So when it goes up, everybody else's go up. And I tried to shop this insurance before in the past, and the problem is, I bring this up all the time. We have two things against us when I talk to any major insurer. One, we're inside the Beltway, and two, we have a police department, and no one touches us with a 10-foot pole, which is why Legit was created under state legislation to test with that. And with that, they also have workers' compensation, and workers' compensation, I think, it's actually going down a little bit, but I can't shop that because no one wants to do just a workers' compensation policy. They want to tie it to your larger policy. So we're have to stay with Chesapeake Employers, which works with Legit. So unfortunately, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is it's difficult to near impossible to shop insurance for us.
Okay. Two more, we're almost there. We still have a whole nother agenda item, so I want to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's going to be quick. I promise. The last one will be quick. I won't keep
20,000 for membership. I think that covers everything.
And it's all the organizations that we mentioned. MML, BGCMA, NLC, although we detracted the.
It could go down. Yeah.
Because according to MML, our dues to NLC are supposed to be free as part of their member.
Yeah, they said that, and that's when I was like, that was.
Yeah, that was
I think it was $1,300 that I think we're paying. We're not paying a whole lot, but they still send us a bill every year. And I think I just signed one.
Yeah, they'll also check us at the beginning of December.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll take care of that.
They've also.
So Mayor and Council, this is your draft budget. Oh, really? That didn't go up that much. It went up $12,000. Yes.
We still have more budget meetings though, so at least we have more opportunities to come back.
Well, you guys didn't get a chance to do a wish list either. Everybody else got a chance to do a wish list.
I can't even imagine a wish list. Now, in this economy, I feel like we just need to be conservative because
You're right.
we don't know what's going to happen.
Your wish list was nice. Yeah. But these are all reasonable asks, and that's what we did with every other department. So this is great. Thank you.
Thank you, Council, for getting us prepared with all the materials for that discussion. And council members, thank you for all your feedback. The next item under new business is
Can you pull it up?
strategic plan for 2026. I'm sorry, 2016.
It's on the
background. It expired during COVID. And there were more pressing issues at the time than spending money on a consultant in the middle of a pandemic to do a strategic plan. And frankly, we were still working through trying to accomplish.
That's
And I believe
yep, scroll down.
did a presentation for us a couple of months ago on the strategic.
Yes, it
plan,
did.
walking us through And it's demonstrated that we've been doing well, still working that plan
I can
and
share it.
achieving many of the things that we originally set out to do.
I'll share if you share it. Okay, so Vito's gonna share and I'm gonna talk through it. If he doesn't, I'm gonna share in a second. Okay. So what I did for thank you, Mayor and Council. So I'm proud to present the strategic plan closeout.
How long could you?
Less than 5 minutes if you let me just go through it. I promise I'm not gonna keep you long, I promise. So yeah, I know okay. So strategic plan closeout. As the mayor said, we wanted to just provide you with a draft plan so that you can close this out. Can you scroll to this just to the 3rd page and that way I could get to you? No worries, it doesn't have to be that. But so if you scroll to the 3rd to 4th page, not the picture of me, keep on going, right? Executive summary. So in the, yeah.
Wow.
And then Ray put this together. So we wanted to put together a glossy report that kind of says what you've done. So you had 5 key areas: economic development, public safety, infrastructure, and collaboration and partnerships. And I'm looking at right here. So when you scroll, I can scroll.
Right.
So what I did is what we did is that I basically broke down each one of these, and you can go to the next page, into we have your core values, which haven't changed, which we're gonna do. So we'll go down to number 3, which is the methodology and other factors. We track them by using the strategic planning tracking sheets. We put in the updates, and then we evaluate if things were complete, not complete, and how we got them together. Next page. So for economic development goal, what I did is I put down the objective, what the highlights are for that objective, which are the things that you actually got done. And then so you did, engagement in the consultant, which was what was on your list. You advanced the annexation process. You had annexation on there. Legislative advocacy, you hired and did that. Formed regional economic partnerships, the Port Town collaborations like the Port Town CDC. And then you did a bunch of marketing. You actually could accomplish all the things. So the majority of the things are either in progress or ongoing. Instead of saying completed, because there are things that you need to continue to do, they're there. So if you yeah, thank you. It's just an action plan. So just the next thing is that you're going to scroll through it. You're going to see every one of the items, where they are, and it's a dashboard so that everybody knows what you did and when you did it. So for the next one, which is area B, which is the public safety, and it's to use the best practice in public safety and community trust. They wanted to advance the police facility planning and town improvements, expansion of the community policing, which was really good under the leadership of the last few years. You've done a lot of community policing initiatives. You strengthened partnerships with regional partners and stakeholders. You adopted a new property maintenance code that was on the agenda, and we did it. And then we did the safety initiatives. So several of the items in this one are completed. You need to develop new things for your public safety. So what you're going to see on the subsequent pages is what's in progress, things that you're doing, and things that you completed. And now we're going to go on to goal C, which is infrastructure and roads. This was, again, the completion of baseline infrastructure and assessments. You all wanted to develop a CIP back then, which we're still trying to do, but we've actually done a lot of work towards getting there. Securing bond and grant funding for capital projects, which is what we've done. Continued as the pay-as-you-go improvement, but we are doing more outside funding. But I think the long-term thing is that you're going to have to realize that, a road runs out in 20 years. So you're going to have to put away money every year in a CIP, which is a capital improvement plan. You installed safety enhancement, including LEDs and pedestrian, which is what was on there. And then you did a lot in the gateway signs and the placemaking stuff, which is what was on your plan. Again, the next pages highlight what you completed. And as you can see, complete. You did the stormwater master plan. You did the stormwater project with Prince George's. That's on there. You did a bunch of stuff this year, in the last 2 years. You completed it. Now you need to do a new one. D, collaboration and partnerships. You expanded your collaboration with the county. You increased the workforce and trade partnerships because now we're doing this with the trade school. And we're trying to do more partnerships in that one. You increase your cultural program and community events. This one's all about developing like a real signature event. I believe your Independence Day did that. And you don't have a Port Towns Day, but you do have a signature event that everybody knows you for. And then this again shows all the ongoing status of everything that you've done. It shows you what's ongoing and what's been completed. I think the next page will show you some completed ones, hopefully, Vito. Ongoing, completed. Yes, there we go. The completed. There you go. The ones that you completed, and where you are. At this point, what my recommendation is overall, which is the last few pages, which you can just scroll through. There, you got a nice picture there. Yeah. What that was at Park and Planning. Next thing is that we would that this is the planning process for the next phase. So phase 1, close out this one, start to procure a new consultant, put some money in the budget for it. So that can be done in the town administrator's budget. We'll put that in there for your next thing. We'll do the data, but we've done the data and baseline review now. Then you'll get that. Once you get somebody, you'll have the stakeholders, you'll vision, you'll do the strategy development, and then you'll do your adoption and implementation. And then hopefully one day integrating a CIP in there. What we're suggesting is a community approach so that you're going to do resident surveys, youth engagement sessions, residents, interactive dashboards, multilingual, pop-up events, and then partner organizations. We kind of came up with some pretty pictures to illustrate that. And then the next steps are, for right now, is determine your closeout. So at the March 9th meeting, I'm asking you to adopt this as your closeout of the 2016 to 2021 strategic plan. So it's finally closed. Okay. Then fully published with this. So this will be your publishing document that would do it. You didn't pay $40,000 for this because that's what they wanted to do for it. So we did what we put it together ourselves. You determine what you want to do for your next strategic planning process, which is part of the budget. And then in the fall and summer, I know that you guys talked about having retreats. This is what you start to retreat about again, is talk about what you want to do. I say do a plan that says 2035. You don't have to listen to Michelle. You can say you can do 2030. But by the time it takes you to get through this, it'll be 2027. Then you're going to be right back at it. If you do a 2035 plan, like a 7-year plan, it gives you some time to get it done. You're not that 5-year crunch. Maybe there's another pandemic, and then adopt it. There you go. Boom. There you go.
Any comments from the council regarding the strategic plan? Anyone else? Councilmember Blunt?
Okay. Well done, Michelle. Well done.
Thank you. All right.
From anyone else on staff, any comments on the strategic plan? I know we'll have to tap you more as we go through the next process.
I think you did a phenomenal job on this.
Thank you.
Knowing the fact that you're going out and you get it done before you leave. That's amazing. Action plan is always something that we always should do, even our regular job, not just as a council. To attract.
Thank you. I have to thank Mr. Jeffries again on the record, because my plan had all the words and all the old school. Mine looked like Microsoft Word, and Ray took this into the 22nd century. Yes, and made it look beautiful. So he took my basic stuff and between them together, it was born. So thank you.
Thank you all for that feedback. Again, thank you, Mrs. Bailey, on another well done project. At this time, I'll call for a motion to adjourn tonight's work session. As a moved by Councilmember Dixon, is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any comments or questions before calling the vote? Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thank you all so much.
You.
Say a big question.
Yeah.